What's up, folks? Welcome to my channel. Just wanted to pop in here really quick before we start the video and ask you to please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. That's what feeds the algorithm monster and keeps this thing going. If you're interested in the audio versions of the podcast, of course, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those good places. We sell our t-shirts and stuff like that I wear during the show on justworkco.com. You can find me on all the social platforms pretty much at I am Dave Hurt, and you can follow the podcast Instagram at the Free Mind Podcast. All right, that's enough. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Free Mind Podcast. I am your host, Dave Hurt, and I'm glad you're here. So, going to be a pretty quick show tonight. There's actually a ton of stuff to talk about, but I have some things I've got to get done, and I just want to cover like 3 things. But I'm definitely going to be on again tomorrow to cover a bunch more because the world is crazy. Stuff is happening constantly. The news cycle is ridiculous right now. But a few things that are in the zeitgeist that I want to touch on and talk about. Actually, really quick, let me just say this show is brought to you by justworkco.com. Just Work Apparel is my apparel company that makes these awesome t-shirts that I wear when I present these shows to you guys. If you are just listening, I encourage you to check out the YouTube channel and you can see an example of this beautiful Free Mind t-shirt that I'm wearing. If you're interested in supporting the show, you can go to justworkco.com and get one of these shirts. We have 4 different designs right now, and I would love to see you rocking it. If you do, use the hashtag JustWork. And tag me in your posts on Instagram, and I will repost it on my story and all that fun stuff. So anyway, also firstphorm.com/hurt to get free shipping on all your First Phorm supplements. It's the only supplements I use and the only supplements I have used for years. So firstphorm.com/hurt. Okay, really quick. Kamila Valieva, if I'm saying that correctly, she is the Russian figure skater who you guys probably have heard about if you've paid attention to any of the news for the last day or two. She was caught essentially violating WADA's anti-doping regulations because in December she tested, so the test was taken in December, but they just got the results like fairly recently. She tested positive for trimetazidine, which is on WADA's banned substance list. So this is obviously a big deal because she is one of the best figure skaters on the Russian team. And at the time I'm recording this, it actually came out that she, I think, placed 4th in her individual event in the Olympics, which was like a huge what would you call it? I mean, she was expected to be first, like gold medal. She's supposed to be amazing. So for her to get 4th, I think she's like never lost or something like that. For her to get 4th was just devastating. And she broke down into tears and lost it at the end. And apparently her coach, I haven't reviewed this footage yet, but I'm going to watch this footage tonight. So apparently her coach was really cold to her after she placed 4th. Fell, I think, a couple times or something like that. And her coach was just like stone cold, essentially wanted nothing to do with her. And I don't think I've mentioned this, but Kamila is only 15 years old. So she is a minor. I mean, that is a child. A 15-year-old is a child. I think back to when I was 15, I had no clue what the heck was going on. I thought I did. I thought I knew everything, but I had absolutely no clue. Okay, so she tests positive. They let her compete. And this is a source of a bunch of outrage. You guys might remember Sha'Carri Richardson, who was a 100-meter sprinter for the USA team. She tested positive back during the, I think, the Summer Olympic trials or leading up to the Summer Olympics. she tested positive for marijuana, which apparently she was smoking due to a loss in the family or something like that. But anyway, the USA team pulled her because she tested positive. Now, I saw an article by Market Watch this morning, which was just despicable, and I posted about it on my Instagram. This is what they try to do to us, you guys. They try to divide us based on race. And any opportunity they get, because they know that stuff gets clicks, There is a fly in here in the studio, and he just flew across the camera. So if you're watching the video, I apologize for that, but I'm going to have to get this fly out of here. So they try to make it about race, essentially saying that Camilla got to stay in, Sha'Carri didn't, and that is a huge generalization. It ignores a ton of details. And of course, the premise of the headline was that the black girl got disqualified and the white girl didn't. Now, first off, there have been a lot of people that have gotten disqualified who are white, okay, for substances now and recently. Now, this example is especially ridiculous because, first off, like I said, the USA team pulled Sha'Carri and didn't let her compete, whereas Camilla was not pulled by the Russian team or whatever they call it. So Russia actually doesn't even get to compete as a country. It's like I forget the name for it, but it's the something of Russian athletes or whatever. It's all the people who are not banned from competing due to Russia's doping scandal that they got suspended for the first time around. If you guys remember, Russia got caught doing all kinds of doping stuff, and the country is not allowed to compete, but there's like this, I forget what it's called, some organization of Russian athletes, whatever. So they essentially still get to compete, some of them, but not for Russia, I think. Anyway, so they didn't pull her. So it has to go to the Olympic Committee, or, the International Committee has to deliberate on it. And they decided to, because she's a minor, and I guess for several other reasons, I think they're still trying to figure out the circumstances surrounding why she was taking trimetazidine, which is a heart medication. And it does increase blood flow to the heart, as well as improves your overall circulation. It's used to treat angina, which I think is just general heart pain. But anyway, there's a lot of details that they're trying to flesh out, and they decided to just let her go ahead and compete. And then, of course, they could decide later to retroactively disqualify her and pull her. So this whole making it about race thing was just ridiculous, because you have one scenario where the country doesn't allow the athlete to compete, the USA, with Sha'Carri Richardson. Then you have another scenario where the country won't pull their athlete. And as you probably aren't surprised, the Russians are usually complicit with doping. And of course, they're not going to pull her. So it has to go to the, I don't know the name of the committee. It's like the International Committee, whatever. They deliberated in like this court for international athletes or whatever it's called. And it was just a completely different scenario. So not even the same organization making these judgment calls, but yet people are not going to miss out on opportunity to make a headline about race, which is exactly what Market Watch did. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. And it's just gross. But yet there are still people who will fall for it, and all they see is black woman disqualified, white girl not, and that's all they care about. But it's completely different. Completely different countries, completely different organizations, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I wanted to talk about that because it's insane. Now, this is obviously a big deal because she tested positive for a drug back in December before the Olympics, and they allowed her to continue to compete. I think it's pretty, I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty messed up. She's a child, and this obviously devastated her. We don't know if she took it knowingly, but at the end of the day, I think that the adults surrounding her, the adults who are in charge of her programming, her coaching, all of that, taking care of her, because she's 15 years old. She is a child. they should be held accountable as well, if not more. The people demonizing this 15-year-old child for something we don't even know if she actually took it. As of right now, it could come out that she did know, but it's crazy. I mean, I think back to when I was 15 years old. I can't imagine the pressure of just seeing all of these people eviscerate me in headlines, demonize me, make me seem like this horrible person, when who knows if she even, like, her coach could have just said, here, take this every day. Didn't tell her what it was, and she just trusted that her coach had her best interest in mind. We don't know. We don't know. That's the point here. But yet they're just terrorizing this poor girl, essentially. So that's what's going on with Kamila Valieva. Like I said, it came out that she did only place fourth, and it's a shame. It's a shame. She broke down emotionally afterwards, and it's just been an awful experience for her. And apparently this particular figure skating coach for Russia is like ruthless and cold and works these girls to the bone. And apparently they have a shelf life of being like done at 17 years old. So who knows if this chick will even get to compete again. She's only 15, but the next Winter Games are when she's 19. Not to mention there's the stigma of being the, quote, cheater that she has to deal with for the rest of her life. And again, we don't even know if she knew she was cheating or not. There was in 2014, and 2014 was the year that trimetazidine was actually made a prohibited substance by WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency. But in 2014, there was a Chinese swimmer named Sun Yang who tested positive for trimetazidine, and they were consequently banned for 3 months. So I think it came out, oh wait, no, here we go. I'm reading from Wikipedia, by the way. So in 2018, a U.S. swimmer, Madison Cox, was banned from competition after a urine sample tested positive for trimetazidine. And by the way, it turned out that she had unknowingly consumed the drug, and it was actually a multivitamin that she had taken that contained trimetazidine. They confirmed it by going and testing the multivitamin, the open container, and they found the drug present in these multivitamins that she was taking. So it wasn't her fault. She took it unknowingly. And she was banned from competition for 6 months. And by the way, white girl, okay? So just to reference people making this about race, here was a white girl who was banned for this substance, all right? It's not that they let you play if you're white and don't if you're black, okay? But then it, like I said, it turned out that she didn't even know she had taken a banned substance. I can't imagine how devastating that has to be to the athlete. So we don't know. We don't know if this 15-year-old chick was given these and told to take them and not even told what they were. If she, I mean, there's so many circumstances where she could have unknowingly consumed this. And again, she's a minor. She is a child. You have to look at the adults in her life and say, what the hell were you guys doing? All right. And look, it could be that she was completely complicit and wanted to get an edge and was like, give me those heart pills. I want to increase blood flow to my heart. Now, with all of this going on, there have been several professors of exercise science and physiology consulted with by news outlets that I've been reading. And for the most part, at least, actually, I think every single one that I've seen thus far, they think that something like trimetazidine would not confer much of an advantage at all with something like figure skating, because it's not an endurance, long-term endurance sport. So anyway, nonetheless, it's on the list of prohibited substances, and that's where things lie. So anyway, that's the deal with Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva and everything surrounding that. All right, next thing I wanted to touch on, because it's just too good. It's too crazy. MSNBC is... This is just insane, you guys. So they are caught, I don't know if they were knowingly or unknowingly, essentially featuring a Ukrainian neo-Nazi militant group in a video that they ran, and it essentially shows these Ukrainian civilians training to defend themselves if the Russians invade. But the people training them, and it shows this cute little granny who's like 79 years old or something, and it turns out the guys training them are a militant neo-Nazi group.
Some communities are taking matters into their own hands. Just across from Russia, in the city of Mariupol, some Ukrainians are preparing. Basic training for the whole family, learning first aid to treat gunshot and shrapnel wounds, and weapons training. On a .7.62 caliber AK-47 is Valentina Konstantinovskaya. The 79-year-old is a retired accountant and a great-grandmother.
You're about my mother's age, and I can't picture my mother laying down on the concrete learning how to fire an assault rifle. Do you think you're going to actually be doing this?
Yes, if Putin comes, I should be able to shoot. The threat is very serious, she says, and I think every person in our country should be able to shoot from the window or on the street if the enemy comes.
And they're wearing like the symbol on their sleeves and all this stuff. So it's just hilarious that either MSNBC just didn't do their research and didn't know that this was a neo-Nazi group, or did and just didn't care. But the result is, of course, they're being called out everywhere for this, and it's pretty insane. So I guess, let's see here, Monday's Morning Joe, which is a morning show on MSNBC, and so today is already Wednesday. So this was day before yesterday. Their chief foreign affairs correspondent, Richard Engel, led a report on the ground about some communities in Ukraine that are, quote, taking matters into their own hands. And then, like I said, it showed these militants in a training session, training civilians on how to defend themselves. And it turned out that it was a neo-Nazi group, and they are called the Azov Battalion. And this was, I think, originally called out by Aaron Matei of the Useful Idiot podcast. Aaron is awesome. He does some awesome journalism, one of my favorites. But yeah, they were wearing the insignia on their uniform. That is the what is it called? It's like a double lightning. Let's see here if it says it here. Yeah. The group's logo features the wolf's angel, one of the symbols used by the Nazi army during World War II. And it looks like a lightning bolt. It's like yellow with a lightning bolt, I think, on it. But anyway, so Mate called them out, and he posted a tweet from the Useful Idiots podcast, or the podcast did, whoever runs that account. And I'll put it up here on the video version, but it says MSNBC's Richard Engel forgets to fact check and airs neo-Nazi propaganda. You've outdone yourself, mainstream media. So here we have a very left-leaning liberal media outlet, mainstream media outlet, MSNBC, that is quick to call everything under the sun, far right, Nazi, white supremacy, this, that, all the buzzwords that they like to label anything that disagrees with them. And here they are actually featuring an actual neo-Nazi militant group. So I just had to cover this because it's crazy. Like, this is the world we live in. All right. Man. Anyway, that's what's up with MSNBC. MSNBC featuring neo-Nazis. CNN falling apart in front of our eyes. Support independent journalists. Support breaking points. Even The Hill. And then, of course, Jimmy Dore, who's a comedian / journalist. There's so many people out there. I mentioned Aaron Matei, so go to Substack. There are a lot of great journalists on there. You can support Alex Berenson, Matt Taibbi. There are a ton of them, all right? And they're doing great work, and they're actually journalists, and they're actually trying to find the truth. Okay, last thing I wanted to talk about really quick that's going on in my life. So I mentioned last time that Instagram had taken down a post that I made showing a peer-reviewed scientific meta-analysis by a whole bunch of scientists in the group American Journal of Therapeutics. They took down a story post that I had made with just a screenshot of the front page of that article saying swipe up to read the full article. I said nothing about the findings. I said nothing about ivermectin. I made no statements, anything like that. They still took it down. An objectively neutral scientific meta-analysis they took down. Okay, I covered it last episode. Okay, so now they have demonetized me, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Instagram, in an effort to boost their signal, I think, with the Reels format, they are competing with TikTok directly by having Reels, which is essentially just like TikTok. They're paying creators to create Reels. So I was part of this creator program where I was getting paid by the number of views on Reels that I made, which was pretty hilarious that they offered me to be paid for Reels, and they were also shadow banning me for posting stuff that they disagreed with, like science. But I posted a Reel recently where I showed a mashup of Joe Rogan saying very left-leaning things on his show, like he supports UBI, like he supports Bernie Sanders, like he supports a woman's right to choose, all these different things. And I made it because there has been, of course, this outcry in the mainstream media that Joe Rogan is some far right wing guy, and he's anything but that. So anyway, I put out this clip, and this clip was actually originally put together, I think, by Matt Orfoletta, and then it was shared on Breaking Points, and Crystal Ball had shared it on her Twitter, and I just took a piece of that, and I added a little intro where I was like talking, jokingly saying, oh, Joe Rogan is right-wing, and then it goes to him saying all this left-wing stuff. Oh my God, Joe Rogan is an alt-right white supremacist. What are you talking about?
I really believe if Michelle Obama runs, she wins. She's good. She's great. She's the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime. I've never voted right-wing in my life. I consider universal basic income a really good idea. I want free college education. Take it easy. Hello, Bernie.
How are you, Joe?
Wonderful. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like Tulsi and I like Bernie. That's it.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else can eat.
Look at fucking progressive.
Yeah. I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. I think he's looking out for the interests of the working people. And I think he wants people to have a better life and do better. And I'm all for that. And if that means I have to pay more in tax, like people think, oh, you're a socialist. I've heard people say that. Oh, you're a fucking socialist, bro. Like, first of all, he's not even a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. It's a different thing. I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and throw a fuckload of spend more, fucking Republicans.
Completely factual, completely nothing that violates community standards. They demonetized that reel because it, quote, violates their standards. They gave no reason, nothing. All it did was show Joe Rogan not being right wing. Okay, so that happened. And then I got hit for posting a screenshot of a news article that talked about the Biden's HHS grant program offering the safer smoking kits. And the headline talked about him funding crack pipes for minority communities because at the time that was the news. And then, of course, HHS came out later and said, oh, actually, the safe smoking kits that we're going to issue don't contain pipes, which I actually think is probably a lie. They saw all the pushback they were getting, so they had to scramble and come out and say this. If you look up safer smoking kits in any other place in the world, and there have been a bunch of these programs where they provide these safer smoking kits, all of them contain pipes. Otherwise, how exactly is it a smoking kit? It's like that is the main component of the kit. It's usually a meth pipe and then a crack pipe and then plastic mouthpieces to put on them. And then it contains some other stuff like I think Vaseline, etc., for like your lips when they get cracked. So the Biden administration came out and said, oh, no, our kits aren't going to contain pipes. So apparently they're just going to contain like lip balm and Vaseline or whatever, which is, I think, completely bogus and not the truth. Watch when these kits come out. I guarantee you they have pipes in them. So I had just posted that headline and I was like, here's your tax dollars being put to good use. So it got hit with a fact checker tag, and then they completely demonetized me from the Reels program after that. They're like, you're not eligible anymore. Literally for sharing a clip of Joe Rogan saying very favorable, at least you would think in their eyes, things where he is not right-wing, and then posting an actual news headline about the Biden administration. Those two things, and I got completely nixed from the creator bonus program where I get paid for Reels now. Pretty wild, you guys. Pretty wild. So by sharing actual headlines, Instagram is now deciding what science is true. They're deciding what news is true. Apparently, they're deciding that even just real clips of Joe Rogan saying things is not allowed. So I don't know what is going on. It's disturbing stuff. It's truly insane. Because, look, I have made posts where I was trying to be controversial. I'll put it that way. And then stuff like this, I'm not even trying to be controversial. I was posting a clip of Joe Rogan that just shows that he's not right-wing. I mean, I think that's pretty innocent. It's like, hey, here's the actual facts. Here's him supporting UBI and all this other stuff. And then an actual headline, which I think the people are supposed to be allowed to talk about, are government officials. So can you imagine during Trump being president if you could get demonetized for sharing actual news about him? This is how much they're protecting this president and his administration. It is insane. Insane. I mean, you want to talk about like fact checking and all of that stuff and misinformation. I mean, how long, years, networks push this fake Russia collusion narrative, which has been disproven completely, yet they were never fact checked. They were never labeled as misinformation or taken off of social media platforms for it. But you post one headline about Biden that's unfavorable, and boom, you're not even allowed to participate in their creator program at Instagram. It's just insane, you guys. I honestly, when it happened, I was so taken aback. I was just like, this can't be real. This can't be real. No way. This is straight up Orwellian. And then, of course, you have Trudeau declaring a state of emergency, which has never been done in Canada, even like through World War II and everything else, because of a peaceful protest of truckers in Ottawa. So instead of, I don't know, talking to them about their demands and their needs and actually being a democracy, instead, he goes full-blown dictator now. He's trying to have people arrested just for being there. They are doxing people who have donated to the truckers. They are freezing people's bank accounts who are involved in the protest. It is just straight up insanity. Insanity. And yet, there are a lot of people out there who are perfectly complicit in supporting this, which is just insane. So, with that, my friends, I hate to be such a negative Nancy, but that's what's going on right now. Just to summarize really quick, Kamila Valieva, the Russian figure skater, was caught using trimetazidine. They did not disqualify her. She got to compete, so that's resulted in a bunch of turmoil. MSNBC is promoting neo-Nazi propaganda. Basically, words are tough today, you guys. And then lastly, I have been completely demonetized and continue to be heavily censored by Instagram for sharing truthful information, science, news headlines, stuff that's just not allowed these days. So with that, my friends, until next time, keep your minds free.